Okay, I sent the message and said I'd be here at 9:15. I got a little bit hung up downstairs, so I don't know if you'll join or not, but we're going to be traveling on the road and I can't do video from the car. So I'm going to record what you're supposed to do today for the GT class for 4th period. So if you join in, that'll be great. If not, you can watch it this afternoon. And to go here. Today is going to seem like it's a lot of work. Pay attention to the deadlines. Your test is next Friday, and I wanted to get some of these things covered. They're in the lesson for today. It happens to be a longer lesson than we've been doing, but I wanted to go ahead and have you do this so that we would have time to review it and practice some things. Part of what you're doing today is testing out the Webassign, which is the curriculum. It has your textbook in it, and it has textbook problems, and it has videos that you can choose to watch or not with other resources to help you with extra things. But this is where the other schools are starting to put their quizzes and tests because of all the issues with the pictures not showing up in Canvas. So if they don't get next week's unit test put into EduGents, not Edgenuity, EduGents. If they don't get it put in for you next week, then what we're going to do is put it in Webassign so that we don't have these issues with Canvas again. So I have a short little 10-question activity or 12-question activity for you. Most of them are 1-minute things. It's like definitions to make sure you know, a couple of questions you actually have to work. But I have that at the end of this so that you can see how it's going to work. You're already in my class, but you don't have email addresses associated with it. So I don't know if I'm going to have to give you a code to join again, and then I don't know if you're going to be there twice or if I'm going to have to remove you. I don't know how that's going to work because you are already in the class. So we'll see how that goes. But first of all, there's some review things here, things that you probably just need to review. If you need to review factoring, I've assigned factoring review and advanced factoring lessons in CK through 12. This link should take you there and to your course. This site is going to be down from 6 p.m. Pacific today until tomorrow, till about the same time tomorrow. So I didn't want to make it the assignment due on Sunday. So I made the ones, these are older, the ones, I made these due the 30th, the 2 for today, the factoring review and the advanced factoring. These are the basic ones. And then these are the factor by grouping and the quadratic formula. And so they just broke them into 2 parts. These are all things we did in Algebra 2, but you may have forgotten or you may just need a review. So that's what this is for. And they're assigned to you and your class. And yes, that link took you to the correct class. If it tells you something about needing a code, my understanding is this should take care of it. But if it doesn't, let me know. It isn't set up really for me to give you a code. So just let me know. If this doesn't work, let me know right away. Please put in the subject line what your emails are about, because people who are emailing me about grades, that's just going on to a task list. I'm not going to read those and respond to those until I have the grades done. Actually, I do have the grades done for you, except for your extra credit because of somebody yesterday needed it for UIL today. If that applies to you, if you need your grade finished by today, by 5 p.m. today for UIL, send me an email to T. Turner. Don't send it through Canvas. Send it to T. Turner and put UIL in the subject line so that I know that that needs priority over some of the other things. I don't know how well email will work while I'm traveling on the road back to Texas. So if you could do that right away so that I could handle that. Otherwise, I might have to stop at a rest area or somewhere if you send me a message like that after we leave, which will be about noon. So it took you to here. These are some of the older ones that I gave you as review. These 3 are the ones I gave you for learning about limits in last class. So, but the 2 that are, I made them do the 30th. Your test is October 1st. B-Day is October 2nd. So you just need to be sure that you can do this before the test. So then going back to this tab. Then for long and synthetic division, Miss Calvo made a video. It's quite lengthy. It's like 15 minutes, but she goes through it step by step. She has the camera on where she's writing it on paper. If you want to watch it, this is the one from the textbook that comes with the curriculum, and it's shorter. I think it's 4 or 5 minutes. So you can choose. I also did the same thing here. This is hers. It isn't as long on synthetic division. Again, things we did in Algebra 2, but you may not remember. So watch what you need to. If you don't like these, just go to YouTube and search and find some of your own. It's just to make sure you know how to do it. This one I found is shorter. It's only 2.5 minutes. It's very direct and to the point. So it gives you a very short way to just, oh yeah, that's how you do this. This one, I couldn't find a lot where you apply the factor theorem. And this one is going to talk about it and use it some when it covers the remainder theorem, but it doesn't specifically explain the factor theorem to you. So you're going to do this. Just watch this one. It's also fairly short. I forgot to put the minutes here about the factor theorem. And then this is probably new to you. Sorry. So just this short video to explain factor theorem. It's a very simple concept. It uses synthetic division and explains what the remainder means when you have it. And then this one is an assignment. It's an activity for you. It's also at CK12, but so here's the link to get you there. And then the polynomial long and synthetic division. So those are the other two that I showed you here, the polynomial long division and it covers long division and synthetic division both, I think. This one is due Sunday night, but with it, just let me know. It's not very long, but let me know if I need to update this because it's literally, it's going to be down for 24 hours starting this afternoon or evening. That one, I wanted you to finish it sooner so that we could go over it in class Tuesday and Wednesday, which will be the last time we have class before your test. So then after you've done that, you're going to respond to this with text explaining the difference between the remainder and the factor theorems and how do you use those with the rational zeros test. So if you've watched the little video specifically about factor theorems and then you go through this site, it has examples you can read, it has videos you can watch or not watch, and it has practice problems you can do to see as much or as little of that as you need to make sure that you can do that from the site and then explain the difference here. So there'll be a submit button for this. It'll give you a text box, and in the text box you will explain the difference between the two and then how you use those with the rational zeros test. So then we go back. Those were the videos. And return to Discovery. So then on the Observe tab here, we're looking at, you've covered IVT, you did that last class. Now you've covered the remainder and the factor theorems and the rational zeros test. Now you're going to look at Descartes' rule of signs, which allows you to take the rational zero test and all those multitude of possibilities that you get that could be roots of the equation and narrow that down some more by using Descartes' rule of signs. So I explain that here in the words, and then you're going to do this activity for Descartes' rule of signs is a way for you to narrow the choices. It's an Edpuzzle video that has questions along the way. It is linked back to Canvas, so this should show up as a grade in Canvas back from Edpuzzle. So you're going to watch it. A couple of people have already done it. Watch it, answer the questions in the Edpuzzle. This one is some practice problems in Brain Genie. So it's one goal, factor, remainder, rational zero, Descartes, all that is one thing. This should take you to the correct class, and it's this last one, this goal here. So it has a little bit of problems like you would see on your test or on your quiz next week, that these are the kind of problems you would see. And so I want you to practice the kind of problems that you're going to have on your test. All right. So then that opens in a new tab because it's Brain Genie. So then you're going to respond to the text prompt below. So you press submit and then explain to someone who doesn't know anything about these theorems and this rule, how they are used with polynomial functions and how they relate to each other. So this is probably going to be several sentences as you explain the factor theorem, the remainder theorem, the rational zeros test, and Descartes' rule of signs, just briefly saying what they're used for and how you use them all together with polynomials. So you'll type that in so there'll be a response from you from today on from the Brain Genie. And I think if you'll check the due dates, a lot of these things aren't due until either the 28th, if I needed you to have it done before we have class next week, or if you just needed to have it done and be practiced with it before your test on October 1st. So all these deadlines vary into next week. On Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll take the results I've seen, we'll review the things we need to review and wrap things up and take your quiz that'll be practice for your test. This is the Webassign. This is the one I'm concerned about because you are already in. I'm pretty sure I loaded you in and I'm pretty sure I gave it the email the way they told me to, but it did not load your emails in. So I don't know if this is going to work or if we're going to have to do it a different way. So as soon as you check this, please let me know. This is the link to Webassign and it's going to ask you to log in. It is part of our curriculum. It's part of the district. You should be able to log in with your school login. If anything goes wrong with this, then let me know and I will change this and give you a class key, because here it's asking for a class key, but I think you're supposed to be able to log in. If you can't, then I'll go back and do it a different way. When you get to this assignment, there are 10 questions. I tried to pick things about vocabulary to make sure you know, simple things that would be easy for us to see how this works. Most of the questions are 1 minute or 2 minute estimation. And I think there's one question that says it should take you about 6 minutes. It has multiple parts in the answer. But I need this to work so that if EduGents does not work Thursday for your test, this is where your test will be. So then when you do, there are 10 questions. So what I want you to do is when you get to question 6 and you choose the answer, you're going to type the answer into question as a response to this. Whatever your answer was to question 6 on the web assignment, you're going to type it into the response box for this homework assignment. So that's it for the observations. And then your reflection, I want to check it just to make sure it's all really working. Oh, and it isn't. So I'll stop sharing while I fix that. This one. I'll share. So it should work now. Yes, and so that's taking you to OneNote for your reflections. And let's just expand, so we'll have to do it from here. And here's your reflection for today. So based on what you've learned today, you would have used the rational zero test. So this is assuming you've taken this polynomial, you've used the rational zero test, and you've tested the values 1, 2, 5, and 10 as possible zeros and determined that none of them are actual zeros. You then discover that -5/2 is a zero. So you calculate the depressed polynomial. This means what you do is you've done synthetic division with this root or log division, and you figured out that it is a root. What you're left with at the second step is called the depressed or the resulting polynomial, which would be this. So if you've divided this by -5/2, you get this result. The question is, do you need to test 1, 2, 5, and 10 again? Why or why not? And once you've done all of today's activities, you will be able to answer this as your reflection for today. So that's all I have for you. I know I gave you late notice. It was kind of a late decision. I intended to record this for you last night. I'm going to post this and put the link in the announcements, and I will send you an email and tell you that that's where it is for this video for this afternoon's Zoom session. And I'll be back online with you next week. Have a great weekend.